There's no question about it. We are relational beings. We desire to relate to ourselves, to other humans, to other species, even to our creations. But when a relationship threatens our well-being or actively works to diminish our well-being, a series of processes happen in the brain and our nervous system. And that's what we're going to be talking about today in this episode of the Deeper Self podcast. I'm Unique Bell, and you're listening to the Deeper Self podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, then go ahead and hit subscribe. You'll want to tune into all of the episodes this season as I am guiding you on how to access the deeper self and understand what exactly is the deeper self. What is this mode of being that allows everything to flow to you with ease? So today we're discussing relationship trauma and the deeper self. So when you experience trauma or wounding or just negativity in a relationship, when a relationship threatens your well-being or actively diminishes your well-being, then a set of processes happen in the nervous system and brain. Your body wants to get you back to safety, especially when we're young and our nervous system is just developing. The tools in which your brain employs to get you to some semblance of safety, they may not be effective in the long term. They actually can become maladaptive in the future and, work to actually start to diminish our well-being as well. And so this is why in adulthood, we come to the body, we come to our inner world, and we want to check in and see what are some of those defense mechanisms, what are those things that I picked up as a response to the trauma that maybe aren't actually helping me to thrive. Because your brain's impulse and its top priority in the moment is going to be safety. It's looking for the fastest route to safety, regardless of if it's clunky, if it's potentially harmful in the future. It's just looking for the fastest route to safety. Your highest possible potential of well-being is not your brain's top priority in such a deep stress response. So this is a big topic. I've worked with clients in the past to help to mitigate some of those maladaptive responses to trauma and create healing from a somatic level. And there are so many wonderful techniques and therapies out there. When you find ones that work for you, and you should dedicate the time to finding resources to help in your trauma recovery and healing. But when you find the ones that work for you, stay consistent in them until they give you a bit of leverage. And by leverage, I mean they literally lift you up a little bit, just a little bit, so that you can start to sense again your deeper self. So you can start to maybe get a whiff of feel goodness. When you have enough leverage, you can begin the practice of starting to switch modes and lean deeper and deeper into your deeper self, which will provide avenues for experiencing healing love. Love is a healing energy to feel whole again, to feel connected to yourself, to feel acceptance for yourself, to feel worthiness. And these are qualities that, I talk a lot about this with private clients who come in wanting to feel worthy again. They want to feel good enough. And as you tune to your deeper self, you may realize that that's not even really a thing in the deeper self. It's almost just a given. It's so pervasive that you kind of don't feel it. There's nothing to contrast it. So there's not worthiness present in the deeper self for you to say, I feel worthy, because the contrast isn't there. Right? So the concept kind of doesn't exist. So the more that you actually lean into the deeper self, the more you just feel innately worthy. These are things that sound just like words when you're in the trenches. I know, I've been there. These are, concepts that just feel like wild ideas, like unconditional love just feels kind of out there until you actually experience it yourself. And why is love healing? Why is the love that you experience when you connect to your deeper self, that love from source, why is that healing? Well, trauma, abuse, emotional wounding, these can create fractions in our identity. It can actually, it's almost like soul splitting. It almost creates these isolated aspects of ourselves that we build walls and barriers up around because of what we experienced. If you're someone who experienced sexual abuse, then you may become so guarded around sexuality or fearful around sexuality that you can't really access that aspect of you anymore. Or if you grew up in a family system where you were shamed for being maybe artistic while your parents and everyone else in the family are very analytical and they're research oriented and they all wanted you to become a scientist or a doctor instead of an artist, then you can come to either resent that part of you that's artistic, hide it away so you can't access it, or just never reach your full potential as an artist because you always have that kind of shame inside of you. And so these experiences, how we relate to others, directly impacts how we relate to ourselves and vice versa. As we tune to the love that is present in our deeper self. And I usually will write that word with a capital L because it's different than the love that you've experienced. It's a different kind of love. It doesn't ask anything of you. It doesn't demand anything of you. You don't need to be different. You don't need to be moving faster. You don't need to be perfect. It demands absolutely nothing of you. It's always present. This aspect of you is always present, always attuning to you and your desires. As you begin to experience this kind of love, it's almost like feeling those aspects of you beginning to knit back together. Not only will you begin to reclaim these lost and hurt parts of yourself, but you'll start to see others in a new light. And this used to scare me, I'm going to be honest, because I had this fear that if I tuned into this state of unconditional love, if I tuned into the love that was bursting from my heart as I connected to my deeper self, I was afraid that I would actually put myself, because of my tendencies to be a people pleaser, to be codependent, I would actually put myself in a really dangerous position to be abused, to, constantly be forgiving repeat offenders, and I would never be able to set healthy boundaries. And so imagine my surprise when I actually gave myself permission to feel into this love, and I noticed that this isn't like, I come from a Christian background. This isn't like a everything goes space. You are also held in the love that your deeper self has. So this love is not going to guide you into hurtful, harmful situations. And in fact, there are these natural boundaries within this love. You are able to actually love and have boundaries. You're able to love and feel that firmness. You're both open and firm. You're both open and receptive. I learned that my heart has this intelligence, that the deeper self loves in this complex way, that the deeper self is able to love and not want to engulf. The deeper self is able to love and have space and have boundaries. It's this new kind of love where you're able to be both open and receptive and also firm. You're able to have boundaries but still be at ease. It's a different kind of love. There are some qualities that I'm still searching for the words to describe it. The love that your deeper self gives you access to is so vastly different. It doesn't want to change your past or blame you. It's not a love that's like, oh, but you should have done better. It meets you where you are, and it gives you a perspective that is healing and supportive. It doesn't try to fix you, and it doesn't try to fix what has happened to you. Instead, it calls you into the heart of what it is that you now want, what it is that you now want to experience. There's this intelligence to the way that the deeper self loves. It's able to be both open and also firm, hold boundaries with a firmness. There are these natural boundaries to the way the deeper self loves. You're not going to be called towards harm or anything that's not in alignment with your ideal version of love. And there's also this new quality that arises in how you may look at abusers or those who've hurt you in the past. You're able to hold them in both love, firmness, and also like a gentle openness. It's not an openness that's like, okay, come back around. I'm ready to get hurt again. It's different than that. It's the same unintrusive kind of like, I see you, I behold you, and I wish you well. And just as there's nothing between us. It's all dissolved. It doesn't hold on to past hurts. It holds on to the desires that you birth as a result of what you experienced. As you tune to your deeper self, your focus shifts and your life feels so full. You start to feel the beauty and all, the well-being and all. And so there's just no space even for those past experiences, for rumination on the past. And so if you're someone who also has gone through codependency, CPTSD recovery, who has struggled with rumination, this might just be what you have been hungering for. And not just might just be. I know that this connection to your deeper self will nourish you and guide you into the highest potential for well-being that is possible for you. Because healing is possible, not just, to kind of recover and have a limp, but to recover and thrive, to enter a state of well-being, such a state of well-being that even exceeded where you were before and, what you were imagining having before. But don't take my word for it. Come and experience it for yourself. The Accessing the Deeper Self webinar series is just in a few days. If you haven't registered already, go ahead and register. You can register one event at a time, or you can get an all access pass and all the goodies that come along with that. We're going to be exploring topics like healing from resentment, tending to the inner child and reparenting so you can recover your original soul essence. We're going to be looking at how fear can become a portal to the deeper self, and also what love is. So this love, this healing love that I've been talking about, we'll dive deeper into this kind of love because it's so different than what our mind thinks of, whether that's like attraction or love that's conditional and wants to change others. This kind of love is different. We're going to be diving deeper into love from the perspective of the deeper self and what that means, what that is, how does it actually feel? What is it like to experience that? So go ahead and register at uniquebelle.com/events. I'm so excited to meet with you live. And if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to the podcast. Leave a rating and a review and comment on this video if that's accessible from where you're listening and tuning in from. I'm so excited to be journeying with you. I'll see you at the live event. Come and join us. I'm so excited to give you access to this wealth of resource and knowing and just internal guidance that you can tune into literally right now. This isn't a future self that you have to become. This is something that is available to you right now. So tune in. I'll see you next week. The link to register for the webinar series is below. You can sign up at uniquebelle.com www.traumahealing.com/events. I hope to see you in one or all of those live seminars. The recordings will be made available. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, comment below, let me know, how are you liking the podcast? Do we like it? Do we feel good about her? Let me know. I'm so excited to connect with you in the chat, and I'm here to answer your questions, and I hope you'll also join me live. I'm so excited to meet with you all in the live series coming up in just a few days. See you soon.